Today I want to talk about being and feeling worthy, but in other words, worthy of what? Of being known. Because pretty much, you know, if we're worthy of blessings, it means we're worthy of being known for our credits. If we're worthy of a relationship, we're worthy of being known for our lovability. So it doesn't matter in what area, being known for what, but that there's a sense of worthy of being known. And I'd like to, as a practice, because I think everybody struggles with this in a certain area of life, whether we're worthy of knowing a lot of information, but we're not worthy of feeling like we're making progress, or we're feeling worthy of getting a lot of honor, but we're not worthy of like intimate company. So in some area, it's not like one or the other, but just feeling worthy of being known by whatever it is, whether it's the knowledge, the companion, the teacher, right? The teacher has to know us to teach us. The animals have to know us to make us feel like we're a calm presence that they could just be around. Some people love to just have birds or cats or dogs, be comfortable around them. And I'm going to go a little bit into this from three resources, and I'm going to incorporate the objectively valuable inheritance as a way of self-love. So that inheritance, heritability means you get it in your genes. So I'm talking here about something not exactly physical genes, but spiritual genes. And this is a way of self-love because it's objective. Everybody wants to feel worthy of being known, or is working, even if it's known by God. Even if, you have a holy, righteous person, they want to be known by God. They want to be known by, the dark side, so that they could turn the dark side away from the people in their life who are suffering. Whatever it is, doesn't matter how noble your intentions are or not, feeling worthy of, and then recognizing the inheritance and incorporating how there's objective value in what's already available. So we have to know ourselves. I think that what I'm leading up to with all of this is we have to know ourselves. So there's 6 pillars from Sandra Chuma. She's from Zimbabwe and she moved here. And she says we have to clarify and connect with the why. Why? And I'll make this personal. Clarify and connect with my why. These are the 6 pillars. So I'll bring in something that has to do with starting a wellness business. And clarify and connect with my why. Own the day to make steady progress toward my goals. Every day I have to stay well and also learn about what works, what's most efficient, and see where it comes up where I have struggles with other people, because that is where I can get the most healing, where they can get the most healing, where there's peace in the parts. Number 3, reflect and rest myself to maintain the momentum. I struggle with this. I like to keep going, be a human doing, not a human being sometimes, and be productive and see change and make progress. Make things happen. And so in order of taking a break and letting things be, I find that I am able to catch up with myself and reflect on my priorities instead of getting stuck in a cycle. Number 4, track the progress. And this is for me something where every week I sort of have times where I reflect on my calendar, reflect on my efforts, and I have to take sometimes on big projects that drain me so that I can catch up. Sometimes my progress is well ahead and I'm really proud of myself, Number 5, create habits that work for me and my goals. So my goal of a wellness business is not actually the primary goal. The goal is really to unite and to heal anybody who's not in full light embodiment, including myself. So I have to do that all day, every day. For example, I have to stop putting people in their place and recognize that they themselves have to learn what works for them and what doesn't. That's a habit I can do in my relationships. Another is to give myself enough time. So that's a habit for me that really helps me to be able to manage everything I put on my own plate. And finally, rediscover me and my worthiness. So I'm worthy of being known as a healer even before I start my wellness business. I'm worthy of being known as a support, as a kind-hearted person, as a helper, even before I start my business. And I'm going to talk here now a little bit more zooming out, right? So this is personal, but we can look at from the Library of Alchemy. They have an Instagram account I recommend checking out, and they post really good stuff. And they show that the colors, and we have all the colors in us, right? So even ones we can't see. So they show how the colors are matching there's 9 levels of like this being known each time we know ourselves in a different way. So there's many ways of knowing ourselves, and we get to learn about our own inheritance when we think we're worthy of being known. And that's where the love comes in. I'm worthy of being known means I will know me. I will make the time and take the energy. And in other words, I'll learn the value of my inheritance, which already lives in me and I don't have to do anything for. So number 9 is the integral, the holonic. It is slowly emerging. You might think of things as like time flux, which means it's always fluid. There's always this fluid, the present just became the past, the present just became the past, the present just became the past. Then there's the whole view, which is synergizing and macro managing. Then we have flex flow. This is the integrate and align systems. Then we have the human bond, which is where we explore the inner self and equalize others. Then we have the strive drive, which is analyze and strategize to prosper. Then we have the truth force, which is to find our purpose, bring order, and ensure the future. Then we have power gods, which is express impulsively, break free, be strong. Then we have kin spirits. This is seeking harmony and safety in a mysterious world. And finally, the survival sense, which is to sharpen the instincts and innate senses. And the colors that match us, number 9, the integral holonic is coral. The whole view is turquoise. Flex flow is yellow. Human bond is green. Strive drive is orange. Truth force is blue. Power gods is red. Kin spirits is purple. And survival sense is beige. And I think about my own great-grandparents who made a trip from a place in Belarus called Gomel, and it took them 3 days to get to a place in Russia called Lyubavichi. And that means they're having me, not only the travelers and the wanderers, like in Jewish heritage, but also the desert. So I'm going to go into, now, there's called this triangle, and it's from the Jane 108 Academy. And it's basically the idea of a squared plus b squared equals c squared, how you can never have more than 2 in the squared. It won't work otherwise. And this is because if you have 3 squared plus 4 squared, you would have c squared. This, so, in other words, as one sort of puffs up and the other one puffs up and you add them together, this third one is in relationship with those. So everything that we can, and this took 358 years for the Pythagorean theorem to be proven. So it doesn't mean it's not true all along. It just means that it wasn't brought out into the revealed. So here is like this idea of being worthy of being known in the hidden comes out to the revealed, and then we can study it. And there's 3 planes of this. And I'm going to move away from that idea of the a squared plus b squared equals c squared, because that's sort of this sense that, as you know, on the one side here you have the trivium, which is grammar, logic, and rhetoric. On the other side you have the quadrivium, which is the arithmetic, geometry, music, and astronomy. That's numbers. And on the third side you have senses: taste, smell, touch, hearing, and sight. So you have 3, 4, and 5. 3 squared is 9. 4 squared is 16, right? So 9 and 16 is 25. And then 5 squared is 25. So I'm just using that this arrangement works. Even if it took 358 years to prove, it's still something that things line up into. This is our natural inheritance of being part of a much bigger pattern than me or you. And so we're worthy of being known because we are the math. We are the beauty. We are the senses. We are the trivium. We are the study of the self before we even study ourselves. So that being said, on the quadrivium, we have 4 here. We have arithmetic, which is the study of numbers, geometry, which is the study of numbers in space. So this is our own geometry. When you say you're fat, you're talking about your geometry. When you say you're short, you're talking about your geometry, the numbers, the proportions, because you have it's called relational space. You have here, and then how many of A can fit between B and C is a relationship. It's the fabric of space is made up by distance between things that have a relationship. Then we have music, which is the study of numbers in time. So it's a beat. How do we say birds make music? Before any drums were called a drum or anything like that. Because they have a pattern over time where they make certain sounds and it keeps a beat. It's a meter, it's a cadence. And then finally, astronomy, which is the study of numbers in time and space. So it's the rotation, it's the full movement. So things are not only changing in time, relationships between things, but also in space. Then we're going to move into the senses. The 5 basic senses are taste, smell, touch, hearing, and sight. And I would like to say, because this is squared, it's a triangle, and I will show you now how the triangle looks, even if it's a little messy, even if it's backwards. Because it's a triangle, each of these have, perhaps, it would be interesting to explore, they each have 5. Each of these break out, for example. So each of the arithmetic, the study of numbers, there could be many angles, right? We have subtraction, division, addition, and multiplication. The study of numbers in space, we could have triangles, squares, circles, and then, polygons or whatever. And then you have music, studies of numbers in time. You could have, a seven, you could have tones, pitch, beats, there's a lot going on there, and I could keep going, but I think you get the point that taste could be preference, could be literal taste buds, could be, and we're worth getting to know ourselves in these ways, and it's always changing. It could be the colors you like to look at, which isn't related to sight, which could be about light and dark, which could be about sharpness versus softness, which could be about, vividness versus dullness. But then, like, taste could be about preferences. Smell could be about the therapeutic aspects as well, like aromatherapy, which means, and also the repulsive aspects, which are like disgusting smells, and then also this the idea of smell. So it's worth looking at your own self and seeing, and in some of the healing practices, we talk about 5 by 5. So we find 5 tastes, we find 5 smells, 5 truths, and this grounds us in the body for each one, whether it's touch, hearing, or sight. And then finally, on this trivium side, we have grammar. Grammar is 1. It's input. Input grammar is the knowledge building blocks. When, who, what, where. Then you have logic. Logic is processing, the understanding of the why through analysis, filtration, and correlation. We get reason, meaning, purpose. So just following this through, we know for ourselves when we're making meaning out of everything. We're literally observing our reality. And then we start to find the reason for things. We filter out based on our previous experiences. We correlate things like, oh, they said that when they were upset, and now they're saying it now, they must be upset. And then also, like, through analysis, oh, that person is smiling very big at me and asking me to hang out again. They must be having a good time. And finally, the last part, and this is what we'll finish with, is the rhetoric. This is the output. So how? It's the how. It's to formulate and communicate acquired knowledge. You might ask, are you having a good time? Like in the last example. If you see somebody smiling and saying this, saying something good. Or you might say, how much does this cost? Because last time I was here, there was a great deal and I want to get it again. And so you're able to put all these little pieces together and use it to understand yourself and understand the world. And even as you communicate, even in the output, it's really, you're learning about yourself throughout. Even as this perception of the senses comes in, you're learning about what you're putting out. I like, I don't like, I want more, I want less. And even with learning about you're studying your own numbers. Maybe you even have a meditation practice and you see how many times a repetitive thought comes in, how many times a blissful thought comes in, how many steps it takes you to get somewhere when you're excited to go, and how many steps it might take you to get ready in the morning to go somewhere when you're not excited to go. And it's worth it, because we are each worthy of feeling worthy. And it's not more complicated than that. And it is important to look at this natural inheritance of all these abilities and faculties and they're objectively valuable. This is what we value in others. This is what we take the time to get to know in others, in information. And we have to incorporate it, and this is what self-love is, the whole self. Thank you for spending time with me. Be well.